Hello and welcome back to another review with me, Kevin, from Kevin Grant on Whisky. It's been a really busy week. It is actually Friday today, so I'm hoping this can all be edited and put out today for you guys. This week we have another unopened bottle, something I picked up in auction. It's the Glenlivet 12-year-old, but it's not the 12-year-old that we know, or you may actually know it. It's from the 90s. I was in auction and I found this and I thought, I'll just take a wee go, and I got it for a good deal. I've not got much... I've not had much time with Glenlivet itself, to be honest. So this is kind of going to be one of my first real interactions with Glenlivet as well. I think it's something I don't really see myself going out and buying at a bar, or I don't have any Glenlivet on my shelf out of all the bottles I have. My big concern is hoping it doesn't cork. So I like to always turn the bottle upside down for a second, try and get the cork a wee bit wet so it pops off. So I'm going to pop this off, get it in the glass, and hopefully the cork stays intact. Let's see if we can get a good pop. Exactly what I didn't want to happen happened. Right. So we're back. Had to get my wine, my cork screw to try and get in there and open up. I've got a tiny bit of sediment in the glass, in the bottle now, but it's fine. I always say try and keep some of your corks just in case something like this happens. I've got a little stash there that I'll be able to try and find one that hopefully fits in this. So after this I'll figure that all out. But this has happened quite a lot. I've bought some bottles from auction from the 90s, 80s and 70s, and most of them do cork, to be honest. They'll just get very, very kind of old and brittle. So we've got it in the glass now. That's what we want. So Glenlivet, I don't know much about Glenlivet, so I'm hoping the kind of information that I give you today is kind of be going from the bottle, a little bit of knowledge I've been able to find, but we'll just try and see where we end up. So we can see here, this is a 75 cl. So in the 90s, whiskey was always kind of 75 cl bottles. Always got a little bit more, but in the UK, and I think in Europe as well, it's now 70 cl. Something came into play in the 90s where they changed the laws on it. So around the world, so mostly America, North America, get more whiskey than Scotland. 75 cl, which in a bar is 2 measures, but in this house it's 1 measure. It's 5 cl, I would say. So a little bit more, a little bit of a change. Glenlivet 12, a very staple whiskey in the portfolio of Glenlivet. It's a Speyside whiskey. It's owned by Pernod Ricard. There's been a lot of kind of changes through the times, from Seagram's, Diageo, Pernod Ricard itself. I think in the early 2000s is when Chivas Brothers, Pernod Ricard, took over full ownership. So we go back in time. 1824 is the date on the bottle, but prior to that there was kind of illicit distilling at Glenlivet in 1817. It was founded by George Smith, and he inherited it from, I think it was his dad or his granddad. Up there, it's in Ballindalloch in Banff. So looking at it, the darker bottle, the kind of lighter green, it's hard to see the colour in the bottle itself, but it does look quite light, and in the glass I can also see that. I've not smelt this yet, too busy running about trying to get the whiskey out the bottle before. So I'm going to get this on the nose just now. We'll go back into a little bit of, maybe a wee bit of history if I can, of other things that I know. But let's try and smell this. It's been in the bottle for a long, long time. I've obviously just opened it live, so we'll see if it's got an old bottle effect, if it's going to open up, if it's going to be a little bit different. So let's see what we get. Nice and light in colour, more of a kind of amber hue. It is, that's a very sweet, sweet pineapple. It's more the pineapple juice, not a pineapple itself. It's not got that big tangy citrus hit to it. It's a more sweeter side, like a pineapple juice is what I can go for. It's got like a waxy note to it as well, like a kind of sweet wax. And then it's got that kind of, that soft coconut note as well. That kind of really white coconut shavings. So for me, it's a lot of kind of bourbon influence smells there I'm getting. I didn't expect it to smell like that. I'm quite taken back. It's 40% as well, ABV. or 80 proof it says on here. So it's not high, but for me it smells higher than 40. Let's try it on the palate. Let's see how we get on. Slange everyone. Quick finish. There wasn't as much going on that I thought there'd be more from how kind of fruity that was on the nose. It kind of just hits you like a little spark. Like an old car that's never started, it's not started up for a while, it just teases you, it's gonna go, you hear the engine turning and it just doesn't. It's quite like that, there's something there and then immediately it's gone. I don't know if it's maybe something because it's been in the bottle for so long, but it's very light and very short-lived on the palate. Having a look at it here, there's nothing to really tell me about the cask makeup. I did try and have a little look. We just know it's 12 years old and it's been aged in oak casks. That's all I could find on this. So I wish I did know what was in it, but I'm going to say it has been a full bourbon maturation for me. I don't think there's any sherry, there's no spice, there's none of those kind of darker red fruits or forest fruits on the nose. It smells fantastic on the nose, it really does. I really enjoyed those smells, but the palate, it's just let it down. If we go back to this for price wise, I think I paid £19 or 20, no, sorry, this was £21 I paid for a 1990s bottle of Glenlivet 12. I think the price was so low is because so much of it is out there. There's a wee date on it as well. I think it's all etched out. So we're looking, you could probably pick this up quite easy in auction. When I was looking, I was just going through and I just seen, I'll sometimes look at stuff from the 80s or 90s and beyond and I get a good deal. So I found this. Yes, I picked it up, I'm glad, but it's okay. Maybe if I get a dram of a recent bottle, that might have a bit more life to it, something a bit different. But that is just okay for me on the palate. We're looking at Glenlivet, 21 million litres a year. Glenlivet and Glenfiddich are the two that are always sitting, who's the best. Glenfiddich have always just about pipped them to top spot, just by sales and worldwide. But I think it was last year, because in 2020, when COVID was happening, everything shut down, no one could really work. Glenlivet were able to work to the rule and keep producing whiskey. From doing that, they were able to keep the sales going, not at what they expected, but still to a higher standard than Glenfiddich. So they've more or less put it down for the first time ever as a draw. They're more or less sitting at a draw. They've sold the same amount practically here or there, a couple of thousand bottles to either or Glenfiddich or Glenlivet. So Glenlivet are starting to come up from that 1 year alone, which is amazing to see that worldwide, such a massive name and something I don't really have on my shelf. As I say, it's been okay. It's a cool looking bottle. It's a bit of history for a really good price, but it's just lacking a bit of depth, a bit of intensity, a bit of length. You know, it's the nose, when you smell it in the nose, as I said, you think you're going in for something really good here, that real nice bourbon cask notes. That wee bit of wax, it's coming through a lot more now. And that could be because I've just poured it straight in, went for it. There's floral notes now, there we go. A little bit of floral coming through. I'm not going to add any water, I think that will just kill it completely if I add even a drop of it. It's just really light, easy sipping whiskey that you could probably drink it very quickly, because whiskey for me, which is very light and missing a lot of length, you take a sip, oh, I've missed that flavour, you take another sip, you try and catch the flavour before you know your dram's gone. Something which has got, that's why I like cask strength or 46 and above natural whiskey, which gives you a little bit of length. You can remember the flavour, you can sit back and try and pick out different things, but with this you're having to visit it every time. So I'm going to go for one more sip, see if there's anything that I can actually get, because I'm getting a little bit different on the palate, on the nose now. Nothing. Maybe the slightest hint of oak, if I was to be nice to it, but there's probably the first whiskey I've had not an amazing connection with, and I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just smells great, super quick on the palate, blink and you miss it scenario. But I'll keep it going. Maybe if it opens up now, it's getting a little bit of life, a bit of air in it. I've got no choice just now because the cork there's a little bit still in there. But we'll see how we get on with it. It's been nice on the nose, but the palate just gives me nothing. So maybe a newer Glenlivet 12 will be the one for me. So sorry it's been rushed again. It's been a really busy week for me work-wise, but again, thank you everyone that has liked, has subscribed, has commented. It's been magic. Let me know if you've had one of these before. I can suspect this could be a whiskey that was a gateway whiskey to a lot of people in the 90s or early 2000s to get into their whiskey life. But next week's video is going to be a polar opposite, a single cask strength. Again, it's a first world bourbon whiskey that I'll be able to know a little bit more about as well, and hopefully the cork won't crack on us. Again, everyone, thank you for joining. Thanks for staying around. Thanks for commenting, sharing, as I say, and subscribing. If you've not done so, you can subscribe just now for weekly content. I do try and do my best to get everything out there as quick as I can. But as always, I've been Kevin from Kevin Grant and Whisky. Enjoy me next week.